There's a hierarchy within Mercedes-Benz that goes far beyond model names and price differences. 7 distinct levels of engineering, technology, build quality, and ownership cost separate an entry-level A-Class from an absolute top-tier Maybach. Each level represents not just more money spent on purchase, but completely different philosophies of design, materials, technology, and longevity commitments that determine what you're really buying beyond the three-pointed star emblem. I spent 2 years analyzing each level of the Mercedes lineup, buying, maintaining, and selling vehicles from each category. I disassembled components comparing build quality. I tracked real ownership costs through tens of thousands of miles. I interviewed specialized Mercedes technicians revealing internal differences that marketing never admits. What I discovered completely transforms how you should think about which Mercedes to buy based not on model prestige, but on engineering reality and cost that each level represents. Today, I reveal exactly what each of the 7 Mercedes levels really means, which engineering compromises define each category, and which level offers the best value for different types of owners. This information fundamentally changes the conversation from "which Mercedes can I afford?" to "which Mercedes level serves my interests based on engineering reality versus marketing." Level 1. A-Class and CLA. Entry: Mercedes with fundamental compromises. The first level represents entry into the Mercedes world through A-Class and CLA. These vehicles carry the Mercedes badge but are fundamentally different from traditional Mercedes in ways that dealerships minimize and marketing obscures. They're built on front-wheel drive platforms shared with Renault models, use turbocharged 4-cylinder engines instead of traditional Mercedes 6-cylinders, and employ McPherson strut suspension instead of multi-link. Interior materials quality uses harder plastics in frequently touched areas. The infotainment systems are simplified versions of full MBUX. Transmissions are dual-clutch units instead of traditional torque converter automatics. These compromises reduce production costs, allowing entry prices starting around $30,000, but create ownership experience fundamentally different from traditional Mercedes. The advantage is access to the Mercedes badge and modern safety technologies at prices that Honda Accord owners can consider. The disadvantage is that longevity and repair costs reflect mainstream volume vehicles more than traditional superior engineered Mercedes. Dual-clutch transmissions require clutch replacement at 60,000 miles, costing $2,000 to $3,000. Turbos fail at 90,000 miles, costing $3,000 to $4,000 to replace. 5-year total ownership cost, including depreciation, maintenance, and repairs for A-Class, typically exceeds $45,000 beyond initial purchase price. Compare this to Honda Accord costing $25,000 in 5-year ownership. You pay $20,000 extra over 5 years to drive entry Mercedes instead of superior quality Honda. The Star costs $400 monthly in incremental costs compared to more reliable Japanese alternatives. Who this level works for: young buyers prioritizing badge and modern technology over longevity and ownership costs. Lessees planning to keep 3 years and return before expensive repairs begin. People who must have Mercedes but can only afford entry range. For everyone else, better consider used certified C-Class of higher level for similar price. Level 2. C-Class and GLC. Genuine entry Mercedes with traditional engineering. The second level begins where traditional Mercedes really emerges through C-Class sedan and GLC SUV. These vehicles use proper rear-wheel or all-wheel drive platforms, 4- and 6-cylinder engines with genuine Mercedes engineering instead of Renault sharing, and multi-link suspension at all wheels. Interior quality rises dramatically with genuine leather, real wood, and brushed metal trim replacing A-Class plastics. The MBUX system appears in full form with faster processing and more features. Transmissions are 9-speed automatics with torque converter, built in-house by Mercedes instead of problematic dual-clutch units. The driving experience transforms from premium Econobox to genuine Mercedes with superior noise isolation, refined steering response, and ride quality absorbing bumps that A-Class transmits directly. Ownership costs increase, but longevity improves substantially. Properly maintained C-Class easily reaches 125 to 185,000 miles without major repairs. Automatic transmissions last vehicle lifetime with proper service. 6-cylinder engines run smoothly at 185,000 miles. 5-year total ownership cost including depreciation typically reaches $55,000 beyond initial purchase price of $45,000. This seems expensive, but consider that C-Class retains value better than A-Class. After 5 years, A-Class worth 20% of original price while C-Class worth 35%. C-Class slower depreciation partially offsets its higher maintenance costs compared to A-Class. Real per-mile ownership cost is similarly comparable between the two levels despite C-Class costing much more initially. Who this level works for: buyers wanting genuine Mercedes experience without entering higher luxury categories. Owners planning long-term ownership and accumulating high mileage where C-Class superior longevity justifies higher initial cost. People valuing ride refinement and isolation over pure badge. This is the sweet spot entry level for genuine Mercedes. Level 3. E-Class and GLE. Executive luxury with advanced technology. The third level elevates experience through E-Class sedan and GLE SUV, where Mercedes adds technologies that lower levels don't offer. Adaptive air suspension becomes available, providing height control and variable damping. Driver assistance systems advance to semi-autonomous highway piloting. Seats gain 20-way adjustment with massage and ventilation. Burmester sound systems replace basic audio. Build quality rises again with tighter panel gaps, superior materials, and attention to details invisible in lower levels. Engines expand to turbocharged 6 cylinders and V8 options, providing 300 to 400 horsepower. Transmissions evolve to 9-speed versions optimized for these more powerful engines. Weight increases significantly with E-Class weighing 900 pounds more than C-Class despite modestly larger size. Ownership costs reflect this additional complexity. 5-year E-Class ownership totals $75,000 beyond $400,000 purchase price. Air suspension requires rebuild at 90,000 miles, costing $5,000. Complex electronic systems develop expensive failures where diagnosis alone costs $300 to $600 before repairs. V8 engines consume fuel at 15 miles per gallon, making fuel significant cost item. But longevity increases again if properly maintained. E-Class with religious maintenance reaches 250,000 miles without engine or transmission rebuild. Air suspension, despite expensive to fix, lasts vehicle lifetime if properly serviced. High costs are investment in durability beyond luxury. Where A-Class requires replacement at 125,000 miles, E-Class can continue to 250,000 with correct maintenance. Who this level works for: executives valuing comfort and technology for long highway distances. Owners willing to pay more for long-term durability. People prioritizing quiet, smooth driving experience over pure value. This level offers best balance of genuine luxury versus still manageable costs for dedicated owner. Level 4. S-Class and GLS, flagship. Luxury with no compromise engineering. The fourth level represents traditional Mercedes flagship, where engineering budget expands dramatically. S-Class sedan and GLS SUV use every technology Mercedes develops without cost compromise. Scanner road suspension uses cameras reading road ahead, adjusting damping preventively. Burmester 4D sound systems add transducers in seats. Ambient lighting offers 64 colors. Executive rear seats recline with massage and neck heating. Build quality reaches levels where engineers spend weeks adjusting door-closing sound. Each panel is checked multiple times during assembly. Tolerances tighten beyond functional requirements for pure aesthetic standards. Weight explodes with S-Class weighing over 4,500 pounds and GLS reaching 5,500 pounds. This weight requires massive engines with V8 being base and V12 available. Ownership costs reflect extreme complexity. 5-year S-Class totals $110,000 in ownership costs beyond $500,000 purchase price. Scana road suspension uses unique components costing $10,000 to rebuild. Electronic systems are so complex that diagnosis requires specialized equipment only dealerships possess. Fuel, at 12 miles per gallon, adds substantially to operating costs. Depreciation hits hard with S-Class losing 50% of value in 3 years. An S-Class costing $500,000, worth $250,000 after 3 years. Loss of $250,000 beyond all ownership costs. This crushing depreciation makes new S-Class terrible financial investment. But bought used at 3 years for $250,000, depreciation slows, dramatically making used S-Class relatively better value than new. Who this level works for? High-level executives whose companies pay or deduct as business expense. Enthusiasts willing to pay premium for cutting-edge technology and absolute comfort. Used buyers taking advantage of heavy depreciation, buying 3 years old for half price. Not for average owner concerned with costs or resale value. Level 5. AMG Performance Line. High-performance engineering with extreme costs. The fifth level diverges from pure luxury toward performance through the AMG line. These vehicles take base Mercedes platforms and transform through completely rebuilt engines, retuned suspensions, giant brakes, and aggressive aerodynamics. AMG C63 uses 4-liter twin-turbo V8, producing 500 horsepower in chassis designed for 250. AMG GT uses mid-mounted twin-turbo V8, making 600 horsepower in dedicated supercar chassis. The driving experience transforms completely versus standard Mercedes. Where C-Class prioritizes comfort, AMG C63 prioritizes steering feedback and lateral grip. Where E-Class isolates from road, AMG E63 connects driver to every ripple, transmitting information through precise steering. Exhaust sound changes from refined whisper to aggressive roar. Acceleration compresses internal organs with 3/4 gravity force, pushing 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. Ownership costs explode beyond already expensive Mercedes. 5-year AMG C63 totals $95,000 in costs beyond $300,000 purchase price. Performance tires last only 12,000 miles, costing $2,500 the set. Optional ceramic brakes cost $16,000 to replace. Stressed engines require specific AMG synthetic oil. Transmission clutches last half the life of standard Mercedes under aggressive use. Fuel consumption hits extremes with AMG achieving 10 miles per gallon in enthusiastic driving. At $4 per gallon, driving 10,000 miles annually costs $4,000 in fuel alone. Depreciation accelerates with AMG losing value faster than standard Mercedes because used buyers fear maintenance costs of high-performance vehicles driven aggressively. Who this level works for? Enthusiasts prioritizing performance over all other factors, including cost. People with budgets allowing spending $60,000 annually in car cost, including depreciation. Used buyers willing to assume risk of expensive repairs to experience extreme performance for a fraction of new price. Definitely not for people concerned with value or operating cost. Level 6. G-Series and Special Vehicles. Extreme niche with unique purposes. The sixth level encompasses niche vehicles serving unique purposes with extreme engineering. G-Class SUV uses ladder frame chassis and solid axles like truck, offering off-road capability impossible in unibody SUVs. Mercedes-Maybach S-Class extends wheelbase, adding rear luxury beyond already luxurious flagship. AMG GT Black Series takes performance to extreme with race aerodynamics and engines tuned to 700 horsepower. Each represents no-compromise engineering for specific niche. G-Class sacrifices fuel efficiency, ride refinement, and practicality for off-road capability that 99% of owners never use. Mercedes-Maybach sacrifices drivability and efficiency for rear luxury for executives with drivers. AMG GT Black Series sacrifices daily usability for track lap times that only rare owners experience. Costs reach absurd territory. New G-Class costs $450,000 and consumes at 12 miles per gallon. Mercedes-Maybach S-Class costs $750,000 including options. AMG GT Black Series costs $900,000 and requires engine rebuild after aggressive track use. These aren't rational purchases but status statements or extreme niche passions. Depreciation varies enormously by model. G-Class retains value exceptionally well because demand exceeds limited production. 5-year-old model worth 70% of original. Mercedes-Maybach depreciates 50% in 3 years like regular S-Class. AMG GT Black Series may appreciate if kept pristine because extremely limited production creates collector value. Who this level works for? Very wealthy individuals buying in cash without considering depreciation or operating costs. Collectors acquiring limited production vehicles expecting future appreciation. People with genuine niche needs served by unique capabilities no other vehicle offers. Absolutely not for 99% of normal buyers. Level 7. Maybach and EQ Electric Line. Mercedes, future, and past at extremes. The 7th and highest level splits in 2 directions representing Mercedes past and future. Maybach GLS and Maybach S-Class represent ultimate traditional luxury with V12 engines, ultra-premium craftsmanship, and unlimited cost. EQS Sedan and EQS SUV Electric represent electrified future with zero emissions, advanced battery technology, and 300-mile driving range. Maybach GLS costs $1,200,000 and weighs 6,600 pounds. Interior uses rare wood, unborn calf leather, and pure wool carpets. Rear seats recline completely with leg massage and foot heating. Integrated champagne refrigerators and crystal flutes included. V12 engine produces 600 horsepower, moving this arc with surprising speed. EQS represents opposite philosophy, using electrification, eliminating combustion engine completely. 100 kilowatt-hour battery offers 375-mile range. Fast charging adds 185 miles in 30 minutes. Futuristic interior uses hyperscreen occupying entire dashboard with 3 connected displays. Absolute silence without engine vibrations provides surreal experience. Ownership costs diverge dramatically. Maybach GLS consumes at 12 miles per gallon, costing $50,000 in fuel for 20,000 miles annually. Complex V12 engine and advanced hydraulic systems maintenance costs $20,000 annually. 50% depreciation in 3 years loses $600,000. 3-year total ownership cost, including depreciation, reaches $900,000. EQS consumes electricity costing 1/5 equivalent fuel. Minimal maintenance without oil, transmission, or combustion engine components reduces annual costs to $6,000. But depreciation hits hard because used EV market has uncertainty about battery degradation and technology obsolescence. EQS costs $500,000 new, but may be worth $185,000 after 3 years, losing $315,000. Who these levels work for? ultra-wealthy spending without financial concern on ultimate traditional luxury, Maybach, or early technology adopters willing to pay premium for luxury electrification, EQS. Neither is rational purchase based on cost or value. They're statements of personal values and priorities versus economic considerations. The reality of value through the 7 levels. Analyzing all 7 levels reveals clear patterns of where value exists versus where you pay only for status. A-Class and CLA offer cheap Mercedes badge but sacrifice longevity and ownership costs, making them questionable compared to used certified C-Class. C-Class and GLC represent genuine Mercedes entry with solid engineering and decent longevity, justifying cost for buyers valuing Mercedes refinement. E-Class and GLE offer best balance of genuine luxury, advanced technology, and durability for long-term owners willing to invest in proper maintenance. S-Class and GLS are impressive flagships, but brutal depreciation makes new purchase financially foolish. Buying 3 years old for half price delivers 90% of experience for a fraction of cost. AMG Performance Line serves a specific niche of enthusiasts willing to pay massively for extreme performance. Not value purchase, but passion bought with full awareness of cost. G-Series and special vehicles serve even smaller niches with costs justified only by genuine needs for unique capabilities or collector passion. Maybach and EQS represent extremes of traditional luxury versus electric future, both with costs so extreme that financial considerations don't apply. If you must ask whether you can afford, you cannot afford these levels. The smart buying strategy through the levels. For most buyers, optimal strategy is buying 2 to 3-year-old certified used C-Class or E-Class. You avoid heaviest depreciation of first years, but get certified warranty covering expensive repairs. 3-year-old E-Class costing $150,000 delivers nearly identical experience to new costing $280,000, but saves $130,000. Completely avoid new A-Class and CLA. If you want cheap Mercedes, buy used C-Class instead. Better engineering, better longevity, similar cost. Avoid new S-Class unless company pays or you're so rich that depreciation doesn't matter. Buy 3 years old, saving half while getting essentially same car. AMG only if you genuinely prioritize performance over cost and plan long-term ownership, amortizing costs over many years of enjoyment. Not as investment, but as expensive passion consciously chosen. G-Series only if you genuinely need off-road capability or love iconic styling enough to accept massive inefficiency and high costs. Maybach and EQS only if money is no object and you buy based purely on personal preference without financial consideration. For everyone else, lower levels deliver 90% of experience for fraction of cost. The hidden traps of each level that dealerships hide. Each level contains specific traps that salespeople are trained to minimize or completely obscure. Knowing these traps before buying prevents expensive regret after signing contract. Level 1 Trap. The DCT dual-clutch transmission in A-Class and CLA catastrophically fails between 50 to 75,000 miles. Symptoms include jerking when engaging first gear, hesitation on acceleration, and smell of burning clutch. Dealership denies its known problem, but independent shops see hundreds of these cases annually. Complete replacement costs $4,000 to $5,000. Mercedes occasionally covers under goodwill, but only if you escalate aggressively with legal threats. Most owners pay out of pocket. The failure isn't if, but when. DCT transmission fluid should be changed every 25,000 miles, costing $500 each time. Manual says no maintenance necessary. This deliberate lie accelerates failure, guaranteeing expensive, out-of-warranty repair. Do independent DCT fluid service regardless of what manual says or prepare to pay $4,000 eventually. Level 2 Trap 2015, 2019 C-Class and GLC use 4-cylinder turbo engines with chronic oil leak problems. Valve cover gasket fails at 40,000 miles, leaking oil onto engine. Symptoms include burning oil smell, smoke from engine compartment at stops, and oil level dropping rapidly. Repair requires removing multiple components costing $1,600 at dealership. Worse yet, some engines develop excessive timing chain stretch at 60,000 miles, causing rattle noise on cold start. Chain replacement costs $2,600. Mercedes refuses coverage claiming inadequate maintenance even with complete service history. Avoid 2015-2019 C-Class completely or budget $3,000 for inevitable repairs. Level 3 Trap E-Class Airmatic air suspension seems premium luxury but is reliability nightmare. Compressors fail at 75,000 miles costing $2,000 to replace. Air shocks leak at 90,000 costing $1,600 each corner, $6,400 for complete set. Distribution valves fail costing $1,000. Total cost to completely rebuild airmatic system at 90,000 miles, $10,000 to $13,000. Conversion to conventional suspension costs $8,000 using aftermarket kits, but eliminates height adjustment and adaptive control. Many owners face choice of spending $13,000 maintaining original or $8,000 converting losing functionality. Both options painful for problem that shouldn't exist in premium vehicle. Level 4 Trap S-Class electronic complexity creates failures impossible to diagnose without special Mercedes equipment. Multiple control modules communicate through CAN bus network. When one module partially fails, it causes cascade failures in unrelated systems. Warning lights illuminate for non-existent problems. Functions stop working randomly. Dealership diagnosis costs $300 to $600 just identifying problem. Often requires multiple visits and trial and error replacing modules until finding real culprit. I've seen cases where owners spent $6,000 in diagnosis and parts replacing 5 different modules before finding root cause. Extended warranty absolutely essential for S-Class because one electronic failure can cost more than total used vehicle value. Level 5 Trap AMG hand-built. One-man, one-engine motors are beautiful but catastrophic when they fail. Forged pistons, reinforced connecting rods, and balanced crankshaft mean any engine repair requires complete rebuild using AMG-specific parts. No partial repair exists. Minor problem like worn rings requires total rebuild costing $20,000 to $26,000. AMG turbos operate extreme temperatures and massive pressures. Service life is 75,000 miles versus 125,000 in standard Mercedes. AMG turbo replacement costs $8,000 per pair. AMG brake pads last only 9,000 miles in enthusiastic driving, costing $1,300 the set. Rotors last 18,000, costing $2,600 the set. Annual cost for brakes alone in aggressively driven AMG, $6,500. Level 6 Trap G-Class retains value fantastically compared to other Mercedes but only if absolutely pristine. Off-road scratches or modifications destroy resale value because buyers want urban status symbol, not used off-road vehicle. G-Class with off-road history loses 30% value versus identical never leaving pavement. Irony is that capability justifying G-Class existence destroys value if actually used. Mercedes-Maybach has absurd ownership cost because each component is ultra-premium unique version, costing multiples of equivalent S-Class part. Maybach chrome door handles cost $1,000 versus $250 for S-Class. Special carpets cost $5,000 versus $1,300. Executive rear seat rebuild costs $10,000 versus $2,600. Maybach owner pays premium tax of 3 to 5 times on each repair compared to already expensive S-Class. Level 7 Trap. EQS electric faces battery degradation, uncertainty. Mercedes warrants battery 8 years or 100,000 miles to 70% capacity. But after warranty, battery replacement costs $23,000. Degradation accelerates with frequent fast charging and extreme climates. EQS bought new may need new $23,000 battery at 10 years, destroying any operating cost savings versus combustion. Fast charging infrastructure inconsistency transforms long trips into range anxiety. Apps show available chargers, but arriving there, they're often occupied or broken. Route planning requires enormous buffers and substantial additional time. EQS excellent for local use but frustrating for long trips that combustion Mercedes does without thinking. The specific models within each level to avoid. Within each level, specific model years have known problems that informed buyers avoid completely. This list saves thousands in repairs avoiding known landmines. Avoid A-Class and CLA 2014-2018. First generation of this platform had unresolved development problems. DCT transmissions particularly problematic. Electronics froze frequently. Cheap interior showed rapid wear. If you absolutely must have A-Class, buy 2019 or newer where Mercedes resolved most problems. Avoid C-Class 2015-2019 with M264. Engine. This 4-cylinder turbo engine has high failure rate in specific components mentioned earlier. 2020 and newer C-Class uses updated engine with many problems corrected. Alternatively, seek C-Class with V6 engine completely avoiding problematic 4-cylinder. Avoid E-Class 2010-2016. With Airmatic, earlier years air suspension have particularly high failure rate. 2017 and newer E-Class uses improved Airmatic design with more durable components. Or seek E-Class with conventional suspension avoiding Airmatic completely. Less luxurious but infinitely more reliable. Avoid S-Class 2014-2017. These years were transitioned to new electronics and had severe teething problems. Control modules failed frequently. Software updates were constant trying to fix bugs. 2018 and newer S-Class has most of these problems resolved through additional development. Avoid AMG 2015-2018 with M177, M178. Engine. Initial versions of these twin-turbo V8 engines had oil leak problems and premature turbo failure. 2019 and newer AMG uses updated versions of these engines with improved durability. If buying older AMG, budget $6,500 for inevitable turbo repairs and oil seals. Avoid G-Class 2019 first year, redesign. Totally redesigned 2019 G-Class had typical new model launch problems. Suspension made noises, electronics had glitches, build quality inconsistent. 2020 and newer G-Class has these initial problems corrected. Or buy pre-2019 G-Class from previous generation known for legendary durability. The ideal buying and selling timeline by level timing of when to buy and sell each level dramatically affects total ownership cost. Depreciation isn't linear. It accelerates at specific points you can avoid with correct timing. A-Class and CLA. Buy at 3 years when initial depreciation completed. Sell at 6 or 7 years before expensive high-mileage repairs begin. Optimal ownership window. Years 3 to 7, 25 to 75,000 miles. Completely avoid vehicles above 75,000 due to DCT transmission risk. C-Class and GLC. Buy at 2 to 4 years capturing remaining certified warranty but avoiding new depreciation. Keep until 10 to 12 years if you maintain meticulously. These can be 125,000-mile vehicles with correct maintenance. Sell before high mileage scares mainstream buyers or keep until natural death. E-Class and GLE. Buy at 3 to 5 years when severe depreciation completed but vehicle still modern. Keep 8 to 12 years if you do proper maintenance, including air suspension rebuild at 90,000. Can be 185,000-mile vehicle. Sell when annual maintenance costs exceed 6,500 consistently. S-Class and GLS. Never buy new. Always buy 3 to 5 years old, capturing massive depreciation. Sell at 8 to 10 total years before complex electronics start cascade failing. Or keep until death if you love car and accept growing costs. No strong resale market beyond 10 years, so value is zero anyway. AMG. Buy 2 to 4 years, capturing initial depreciation but avoiding break-in problems. Sell at 6 to 8 years before performance components wear severely. These aren't high-mileage vehicles. 90,000 miles is expected service life under enthusiastic use. Keeping beyond requires expensive rebuilds that exceed vehicle value. G-Class. Buy new if you can, because these retain value exceptionally. Or buy 5 to 10 years old, capturing moderate depreciation. Keep forever because G-Class of any age has strong demand. These are rare Mercedes that appreciate instead of depreciate if kept pristine. Classic pre-2019 G-Class now worth more than originally cost new. Maybach and EQs. Don't buy unless ultra-wealthy. If you must, buy new and keep 3 years selling before warranty expires. Or buy 5 years capturing brutal depreciation and accepting expensive repair risk. No smart strategy here. All options are expensive. Choose preferred poison. Choose based on this knowledge versus marketing, and you'll have positive Mercedes ownership experience. Ignore this advice pursuing status or ego, and you'll have inevitable financial regret. The 7 levels are real. Value within them is distributed unequally. Choose wisely.